So you want to start a homestead. Maybe you want to quit your job, leave for the countryside, start growing your own food and start living a simpler life on your own terms. Sounds perfect, right? Well, in this video I want to share with you 5 reasons why you might want to think twice before starting a homestead. Hey guys, I'm Moreno from RootsReconnected.com, and the first reason why you might want to think twice is the financial worries. When you picture starting a homestead, you might imagine all of these nice things. You might imagine the freedom of living off the land and the security of growing your own food. But beneath this so-called ideal image, there's a reality that's often overlooked, and that is the financial strain. Unless you already own a property, you're going to need to buy one. Unfortunately, not every piece of land can easily turn into a productive homestead. You need fertile soil, you want to have access to water, and preferably you want to do this in the right climate for the plants that you have. And often, lands that have these key features, they come with a premium price tag. And then buying the land is just the beginning. Food forests don't plant themselves, barns don't magically appear, and your home, whether you want to build a tiny house or a more traditional setup, it requires a lot of money. Even before you plant your first seed or welcome your first animal, it is likely that you will have invested tens of thousands into making your homestead a viable place to live and work. Then there are the ongoing expenses: seeds, feed, equipment maintenance, veterinary bills and utilities if you're on grid. It's like they don't stop coming neither. Each chicken, goat, food forest, not everything is just a source of food or income, but also a recurring expense. And it's a difficult balance to maintain, where the cost of care must be weighed against potential returns. And beyond the obvious, there are always hidden costs that can catch you by surprise. Soil that needs amending, pest infestations, or a well that runs dry can quickly turn a budget surplus into a budget deficit. And then there's of course the taxes from our lovely government and insurances, which can vary a lot depending on where you live. This financial strain can put a lot of weight on your emotional well-being. The stress of managing a tight budget, the pressure to make your homestead efficient and not a money drain, and the fear of failure can be overwhelming. This really tests your resilience and financial awareness, and it requires a level of dedication that not everyone is prepared for. Now, this isn't to say that a homestead is a financial black hole. There are many ways that you can make it through diversification, careful budgeting, resourcefulness, planning for phased implementation, and simply not spreading yourself too thin. Homesteading, in a sense, is a labor of love that demands your full dedication, but also a keen financial mind and a solid savings plan. Without it, it's simply going to be very difficult to live a good and fulfilling lifestyle. The second reason why you might want to think twice is the time commitment it requires. You might think you've got a good handle on managing your hours. You're juggling your work, your family, and a bit of social life. But homesteading is a completely different game. Unlike a full-time job, homesteading is essentially your life wrapped up in the never-ending cycle of dawn to dusk tasks, and sometimes even beyond. Imagine your typical day now. Maybe it starts with a cup of coffee or tea or whatever. You go to work and you come back home, it's time to relax and spend with your family. On a homestead, your day might start before the sun rises and not end until long after it sets. If you have animals, they'll need feeding. If you have gardens, you'll need to water it, you need to weed it. And you have a list of chores that won't wait for you to feel ready. It can be relentless. You can forget about the concept of weekends, really. Animals don't know it's Saturday and they decide they won't need any feeding. Or gardens won't stop growing just because you want to sleep in. The homestead needs constant attention, and taking a day off isn't as simple as it used to be. Sure, you can plan for some downtime, but it requires preparation, and even then you will have to be ready for unexpected interruptions. On the homestead, the seasons dictate life. Spring is for planting, summer is for growing, fall is for harvesting, and winter is again for the preparation for the cycle to start all over again. Each season brings its own sets of tasks, deadlines and pressures. Especially in spring and fall, it can feel like you're constantly in a race against time. There's a window for planting and a window for harvesting, and missing it is simply not an option. Then there is the balancing act. Homesteading is largely about managing the lifestyle, really. This means balancing time that you spend on things that need to be done immediately with other long-term projects like building up infrastructure or planning for future seasons. Maybe the biggest impact is on your personal and family time. Homesteading can be a beautiful, enriching family experience, for sure, but it also demands sacrifices. Time that you spend normally on hobbies or relaxation or just being together without a to-do list hanging over your head becomes, well, quite a commodity. Having said that, for many, including ourselves, this is a trade-off that is definitely worth it. The satisfaction you will get from building something with your own hands, of living closely with the cycles of nature, and of building a deeper connection with your family through shared work and achievements can be extremely fulfilling. Then let's dive into another aspect of homesteading and another reason why you might want to think twice before getting started. And that is the physical toll it takes on your body. If you thought that signing up for that CrossFit class was going to get you in shape, homesteading is about to redefine your entire concept of a workout. Here, every day is leg day, arm day, back day, you name it. From the moment the rooster crows, or more realistically your alarm clock, your body is on duty. There's always something to do. There is fruit to harvest and process, irrigation system to install, renovation work, maintenance work. It can get a lot. And many of these tasks you can't put off because you're feeling a little bit sore from yesterday's activities. Of course, it's not the entire world on your shoulders, but you will find yourself handling plenty of hay bales, water buckets, and sometimes a stubborn chicken or two. This is what you'll be carrying day in and day out. It's just you, the task at hand, and whatever the land decides to throw your way. It's physical work that demands a lot of strength, and you better be prepared for a bit of discomfort, and on some days a lot. But despite the physical reality of homesteading, it's a lifestyle that keeps you active in the good sense. Seeing quite literally the fruits of your labor grow and flourish offers a reward that goes beyond the physical. So if you're thinking about making this jump, this lifestyle change, be ready to get in the best and sometimes the most exhausted shape of your life. Now, the next reason is a little bit different, and that is isolation. When you dream about breaking free from the chaos and planting your roots in the middle of nowhere, it might seem like a slice of heaven. And once the novelty starts to wear off, the quiet can get loud, like real loud. Imagine waking up to nothing but the sounds of the birds and the wind. Sounds perfect, right? Well, for us it is. But when you realize that your closest neighbor is a family of deer, this remoteness or loneliness can start to feel a little bit more significant. I've talked to many people who didn't realize this side of homesteading. Now, of course, this is a lot more the case when you're living remotely like we do. There's a big silence that covers everything, especially once the sun goes down. Living rurally means space, and lots of it. Your nearest neighbor might be kilometers away, and passing by for a quick cup of coffee involves more planning than impulse. This space is awesome for privacy and quiet, but it can make hanging out with others a bit of a challenge. It turns out that human connection, even the simple kind, holds more value than we realize until it's not as readily available. On a homestead, social interactions just require effort. It can be that you're not just a walk or a short drive away from friends and family anymore. Every visit can turn into a big deal, needing some serious planning and often a good amount of travel time. Thank goodness for the internet, right? It provides a window to the world that you've stepped back from. It's great for staying connected with loved ones, yet it's also a double-edged sword, offering an insight into the life that you left behind, which can sometimes make feelings of being alone more stronger instead of soothing them. Now, it's not all bad news though. One of the beautiful things about the homesteading community is, well, just that. It's a community. Even if it's spread out and not necessarily visible from your front porch, it's there. Of course, it will require more effort to find and nurture these connections, but they can be incredibly strong, built on shared experiences and mutual understanding. Plus, the relationships that you do maintain and build are often deeper and more meaningful because they're intentional. So if you're considering homesteading for your next big move, get ready for the quiet. It can really shake up what you think makes you happy and how you relate to others. But it also opens the door to experiencing aspects of life and relationships that you might have never considered before. Which brings us to the next reason, the emotional toll it can take on you. Homesteading can be a wild emotional ride, plain and simple. You've got highs that feel like you're flying through the sky, but also the lows that could drag you down to the bottom of the ocean. Starting with, well, let's start with the good stuff. The peaks are incredible. There's something about seeing your first sprouts break through the soil or watching a tree that you planted bear fruit for the first time. These moments are pure happiness. They are reminders of why you chose this life to begin with. But following the highs, there are the lows, and these can be tough. When you take care of your plants, your animals, your food forest, you are constantly busy with them. You are caring for them from beginning to the end, which makes you emotionally invested in their success. So when a section of your food forest doesn't thrive due to unexpected weather or soil conditions or whatever, or an animal falls ill despite your best efforts, it feels like a personal failure. These moments can be quite literally soul-crushing, making you question your abilities and choices. Sure, the idea of self-sufficiency is appealing, I understand, but let's face it, the pressure to make everything from each tiny seed to your entire food forest and your homestead thrive can be overwhelming. This constant pressure and the unending to-do list can easily lead to burnout. This is a problem that can sneak up and start to mess with the happiness of your homesteading life if you don't keep an eye on it. It is clear that homesteading can be a bumpy ride, but it also offers a richness of feelings and experiences you won't get anywhere else. So are the lessons learned along the way and the joy that is found in some of those quiet moments of success. Diving into homesteading means you're in it for an emotional ride just as much as a physical one. It's a journey that will test you, it will teach you, and it will transform you in ways you might not expect. The emotional toll is just a part of the package, but from it you will grow as a person. And I think by now it is obvious that this lifestyle is anything but easy. But hey, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, right? Well, probably not, but you know what I mean. Part of what makes homesteading so special is the effort and grit it takes. Now, this isn't meant to put you off. Actually, it's quite the opposite. In this video, I just wanted to do something different, to show you the different aspects to it, the good and the bad. So if you do decide to dive into this life, you're doing it with both eyes open and are ready for whatever comes your way. And if after all of this you still want to get started, then make sure to pick up our free homestead startup checklist, because in it I go over the exact steps that we used to plan, design and start our homestead from scratch. Give it a try and let me know how it works for you. I hope you've enjoyed this, well, different style video and that you found a value in the information. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time.